Right, I now ask Mr. John Illsley, second master of the school, to propose the toast to South Africa. Mr. Illsley.
Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for this opportunity to propose a toast to South Africa. Being asked to do this in 2020 is perhaps something of a dubious honor, as there can be few years in South Africa's 110-year-old history that have provided as difficult a set of circumstances for our country. But it is not the first time that a number of crises have beset the land simultaneously. In the era of the Great Depression, the country faced a global economic collapse, a serious drought, and a major livestock epidemic at a time when agriculture was far more central to the economy of the country. In the 1980s and early 1990s, we faced international isolation due to a failed racially based ideology, a low-key civil war in several parts of the country, and rising state debt. But even with some historical perspective, there's no way of getting away from the fact that 2020 has been a very tough year. This year saw a country that was already facing monumental challenges having to formulate a response to a global pandemic. Arguably, the state's response to the coronavirus was more decisive and effective than many more advanced countries, albeit with some decidedly muddled policies when it came down to the details of lockdown regulations. The regulations relating to smoking and even types of clothing being just two examples. Sadly, after a short period of feeling that we were all in this together and that it would promote some sense of unifying patriotism, similar to 2010 when we hosted the Soccer World Cup, the COVID-19 crisis South Africa faced soon began to magnify some of the major problems that we have faced in the country in the last few decades. Within weeks of the first lockdown, corruption and nepotism were evident in the awarding of PPE contracts. Political factions, for their own supporters, hijacked the distribution of food parcels that were supposed to be part of broad relief initiatives. The national debt, already at a risky level in terms of servicing loans, worsened when the state took a loan from the IMF. Unemployment figures, above 30% pre-COVID, rose yet further, with 2 million unemployed being added in a 3-month period. State-owned enterprises, a massive drain on state revenue instead of contributing to it, again came to the fore as 2 state-owned airlines failed, and one of these was rescued after a fashion, yet again at taxpayers' expense. As if all of these were not enough, electricity supply was again intermittent as bouts of load shedding occurred, highlighting, sorry, no pun intended, a legacy of mismanagement, evident not only in terms of service delivery, but a staggering 400 billion rand debt. Finally, the lockdown period highlighted yet again that even when laws create opportunities, when laws create opportunities for criminality, these will be exploited, as was most evident in the massive expansion in the illicit trade in liquor and cigarettes. In short, what COVID has done in South Africa is to show just how precarious our situation was previously, by exacerbating the major problems over a short period of time. That may yet come to do some good, but only if the right lessons are learnt. I don't believe that blind optimism serves any purpose except to mask the reality of the current situation. We are going to have to turn the corner on a range of issues. We are going to have to hold all who hold public office fully accountable to the rule of law. We are going to have to place service to our communities and to the country above being self-serving. We are going to have to shun this divisive nationalism in any form. We are going to have to adopt economic policies that promote foreign investment and that break with the notion that socialist ideals are sustainable in a stagnant economy. It is only through all of these becoming a reality that unemployment, poverty, inequality, and crime will decline. In our favor, we have a strong constitution, a generally robust judiciary, sophisticated banking systems, the best infrastructure on the continent, a diverse economy, and currently food security. Most importantly, however, we have the potential for a far better future in terms of human and natural resources. The biggest single challenge we face is tapping into these assets for the greater good. Maybe the most apt definition of hope at the moment is that attributed to Jean Kerr, who said, "Hope is the feeling you have that the feeling you have isn't permanent." It is by making a difference in tackling the many problems that we as a country face that schools like ours play a crucial role, not only through the quality of formal education provided, but also through the values that are taught and the creativity that we encourage. While a certain proportion of our old boys end up overseas, the majority remain part of South African society, collectively making a positive contribution in all spheres. Making sure that the majority do stay is itself likely to be a product of how the country changes in future. As a master at this school, little makes me more proud than learning what our alumni have done after they have left school, not just in terms of studying further, but through the pursuing of business ventures, in the arts, as professional sportsmen, and of course those who I see on a daily basis, who have returned here as teachers and who play an important role in sustaining this school, be it in the classroom, as housemasters, as sports coaches, and in this year, the appointment of an old boy as headmaster. If we are looking for reasons to be hopeful about the future of the country, it has to be based in some part on the fact that institutions like Pretoria Boys High, which have served South Africa for over a century, remain well placed to continue to do so. We have a beautiful country, but to use a well-worn phrase, it is a work in progress. And we need to continue to work towards making progress the operative word. And that is going to take much work. I therefore ask you to charge your glasses, rise, and to drink a toast to South Africa. To South Africa. Thank you.